Hey all, Heretic here with another Hearthstone Battlegrounds Player's Guide, and I'm here to bring you the information you need to help you win with Mutanus. So get comfy and let's dive in. Alright, so first let's go over their hero power Devour. This costs 0 gold and reads, remove a friendly minion, spit its stats onto another, get 1 gold. Now, just while you can target what you want to spit, remember that the place it lands is random. You don't get to target that. So what this is going to do is cause you to have some very awkward moments during the game when the spit ultimately hits something you don't want it to. The frustrating part about this is, way back in the day, I remember I spit like 6 times, and every single time it hit the selfless hero. And there's nothing you want more than a gigantic selfless hero who won't die. It's very frustrating. That being said, it's random. There's 6 other targets on the board. You could always spit the target. It's just frustrating if it's something you don't want it to spit. It's great when it hits your Baron Rivendare the first time. The 5th time, you're a little annoyed and kind of sick of it. The nice thing about this hero power, though, is you're not really going to have any wasted stats. If you have something that you decide you want to pivot out of and is no longer useful on your board and it's moderately sized, spit it. You're now going to have the open spot. You're going to get the gold, and those stats are going to be moved to something else on the board. So the things you can do to mitigate it are, if it's in the middle of a turn, you're going to do a bunch of moves, and there's at least 2 minions you're not going to have on the board. Try to get rid of those first. That way, when you do spit, it doesn't land on one of them. Because heaven forbid, you've got something in your hand you want to spit, and then at the same time, you spit early and it lands on the other minion you want to get rid of. Now your order's all out of whack. So try to pay attention, really think about it. It's really important. Don't spit the first thing you want to sell. Take a look, think about the value before you start jumping to that hero power, because once it's done, you're stuck till next turn. When it comes to tiering with Mutanus, I still enjoy the Jeef curve. It has a nice curve. It allows you to use that hero power. With the new additions of a couple ways to generate economy in these minions now that Nagas are in, it's a little easier to pull off, to get that value, and really pay attention, because you really can get some extra, stat spit across the game. Even if it's just a couple here and there, that's really the difference between a win and a loss. So when we're looking for the minions in the strats we want to do, here's some examples of the things you want. So this is a trick I do that happens quite a bit because there's enough tokens in right now. So in my example, let's say it's turn 2, you have a minion on the board. Let's say in the shop is a Cellemental. What you can do is, since you have 4 gold, you buy a minion, preferably the Cellemental, play that Cellemental, sell the Cellemental, play the other 2/2 minion you get from that, spit that 2/2, now you're back up to 3 gold again, buy another minion in the shop. You've gained 2/2 on your main minion that you want to keep, and now you've picked up another minion. It's just little things you can do like that during the game that you can pay attention to, where it doesn't seem like much, but especially in the early game, can save you that damage that will cost you a big swing in the end. I mean, it's when you lose because you took exact lethal, if you could have saved that damage on turn 2 or 3, it's important. Other things, the minions you want to get. So let's think about this. If you cycle through some demons, Wrathweaver, Sourlisk, just because as you're playing the game and you're spitting randomly, this can keep getting big. Eventually, when you don't want to play either of these minions anymore, you can then just spit them. Chromewing is still a great early game minion. For those first few turns, it's going to gain a ton of stats. When you do go to spit it, now you're moving a lot of value from a tier 1 minion to something else on your board. Now, there's all the traditional big explosive minions, like the Cave Hydra, the Foe Reaper, a Wildfire Elemental, Impulsive Tricksters. They're all great, but remember, your hero power doesn't allow you to target where it lands. So you might invest in all these minions, and over 5 turns, they never get spit on. They just get missed every single time, and it hits your support minions instead of your attack minions. That sucks. You're better off to go with a more balanced, useful board than try to stick these power minions that in other games, in other versions of the meta, we used to be able to force them onto. A good classic one now is still Selfless Hero. If your Selfless Hero can't die because it's too big and you don't want to spit it in Beast Druid, there you go. Put a Macaw in front of it. Now you're triggering that Divine Shield, and it still has potential for dying, so there's still some value there. Temporary minions are fantastic. So what I mean by that are ground shakers. You put all those blood gems on the ground shaker, you now spit one of the minions on your board. Whatever minion those new stats land on, even those ground shaker generated stats are now permanent. Pashmar the Vengeful, you know, you're getting all these minions that die during your turn theoretically. Put all those buffs on one minion, spit that minion, now all these buffs are permanent. Shoal Commander, another great example. Spit it, stats, great. Eelbound Archer, oh, +8 to a minion, spit that minion now. Even if it's just to buy the Eelbound Archer, play him, put the buff on him, spit him, you're moving stats around. It's easy, quick value you can get that if you have nothing in the shop that looks interesting or no big minion you want to get rid of, now you're generating more stats relatively quick and easy. Overall, the kind of minions I like in these kind of boards are Divine Shields. A board of Divine Shields means you don't have to worry about any one family. Just pick up everything, and anything your target spits on is good. You're getting value that's gonna stick, so it's well worth it. Murlocs. If you start getting a lot of big statted Murlocs and you've got a couple and now you're trying to cycle in different things, spit one of the Murlocs, you're all good. Major Domo if you're in, you know, elementals. Even if you don't want to stay in elementals, just have the Major Domo cycle through, especially if you're in tier 5, a bunch of elementals, and put something not optimal in the leftmost spot, maybe a bumper, and then spit it the following turn, and now you've got the stats moving around. If you're playing elementals and you have something big and decisive in that spot, even better. Don't worry about it. Nomi, of course. The dream always is, if you get an early Nomi, you start making giant elementals, and you just spit them all over the place. Oh, it's a 30-30 elemental, spit. Now it's, you know, any kind of buff elemental, play it, get the effect, spit it. Don't even care. Fantastic value there. That's probably the best result in the current meta, but there's still a lot of ways you can make it work. Mutanus is a great hero. Now, when it comes to countering Mutanus, what I typically do is I just play a normal game of BGs. I keep an eye on what he has. If it says mixed, I expect a board full of Divine Shield things, or just a menagerie of weird buffing and spitting randomly. Always want to be prepared for the cleaves and the other destructive minions that can hit wide scale stuff, but yeah, since you can't really target and force it, I wouldn't worry about it too much. You're always going to have the game where the guy RNGs and it's perfect. I just wouldn't worry about them. They don't have, you know, there's no way they can force it really unless they keep a tiny board, in which case, hey, all the better for you. You know, heavy RNG with the spitting makes it hard to predict what your opponent's board is going to be. Overall, Mutanus is a super powerful, super RNG, which can be a lot of fun and can be why you hate him. Maybe you don't like Mutanus because every time you play him, the spits go wrong. If it happens enough times, even if he's the greatest hero, you're not going to want to play him. You're going to be like, well, it hits everybody else that I don't want it to, and it never hits the minion I want. I have bad RNG, I don't want to do it. I understand, not the hero for you. But if you play it smart and you play it right and you pay attention to where the buffs are, you know, where the minions you have on the board are, and try to limit the number of bad minions those spits can hit, overall, you're going to hit the minions you want just through, you know, not having one really key minion, but having 4 or 5 good targets for it to hit. Don't put all your eggs in the basket and say, I have a Hydra, I'm just going to spit on the Hydra every game, because you are going to 8th place every single time. Don't do that, please. Or do if you're in my lobby. I don't mind. If that's what you want, knock yourself out. I love Mutanus. It's a lot of fun. I like RNG. If you don't like RNG, maybe stay away from Mutanus. In the end, I've attached a link with some gameplay if you're looking to see how I piloted them. Stay tuned, I have more guides on the way, and I hope you learned a few things today and had a good time. I know I did. Bye.